In this video, I'm gonna go over part of the driving. So, when I was 15 years old, 14 years old, I wanted to drive more than anything else. I could go see my girlfriends, I could have friends. But I was living in Haverhill out of 24 to 20, now I'd say 24 or more days a week. Sorry, days a month, I would be. Oh, my nervous system. 24 days every single month I would be in a Haverhill program, and then maybe 8 days or something like that. No, sorry, yeah, about 8 days, maybe something like that. 22, 24, I get in the program. Something like 6 or 8, I get at home. Something like that. And the program, as a rule, I'm not allowed to drive. I'm not allowed to have a car. I'm not allowed to have friends over. I'm not allowed to go to any of the neighbors' house. Yeah, there's a neighbor kid the same age as us that invites us over, but none of us are allowed to go to his house. So no matter how many friends I get, it's not like we're allowed to have friends. We're only allowed to hang out with the shitheads in the program. And on weekends, my parents could care less, but I'm going to go get that learner's permit anyways. So at 16 years old, I study up, I go, and I passed it. First test. Man, I'm good, huh? I put my mind to something. I really want it. I get it done. I get my learner's permit. So I have a learner's permit. I even use it to get cigarettes. Yeah, people are so stupid. If I just scratch off the last digit, they let me buy cigarettes. So I have a learner's permit, and I asked my father, "Will you teach me how to drive?" He says, "No, I don't have time." I ask everybody, "Can you show me how to drive?" Nope. Show me how to drive? Nope. Show me how to drive. A year goes by of this. I ask my father again, I'm age 17, "Can you please show me how to drive?" He then gets mad at me and goes, "No, I don't have time right now." And then the weekend's over. Then the next weekend comes, and I stop asking by the age of 17 and a half. By about the 9 month mark, I have 9 months left on my learner's permit. Nobody showed me how to drive. I've asked my father, and now he's getting mad at me when I ask. So I start asking everybody else, and one person in the family lets me practice in a parking lot one time. And that's all I get in the 2 years of having a learner's permit. 2 full years. Now, here's where it gets more crazy. I have to go and get my learner's permit again. But now, why? Why? I had one. Nobody fucking even let me use it. So I had a learner's permit for 2 fucking years. If I get another one, who the fuck is going to show me this time around? Am I going to go another 2 years? So that's a worry in my brain. Am I wasting my goddamn money and time? Another worry is I can't even walk straight. I can't skip a rock straight. I can't do nothing without my nervous system giving me a shock and then my muscles doing something I don't want. If I try to use my arm properly, my leg twitches. If I try to use my toe and put pressure on a gas pedal, the rest of me twitches. I do not have full control. I have tics, twitches, and seizures. Now, that's not a big deal. Go to the doctor and go drive, right? I'm not allowed to get any medical care for this, and the doctors do not have this established yet. So what will happen is I'll get in an accident, and then they'll arrest me for reckless driving, and then when I talk about my disability, everybody will look at me like I have 3 heads, like they never heard it before. So I definitely have to speak up about my disability way before I can drive. But at the age of 18, I have no, all I know is I'm disabled. I don't know what type of disability it is. All I know is that I'm not skipping rocks right. I got this lightning in my spine. I'm twitchy. I have no coordination. I'm falling down. I've fallen down during fireworks. I've fallen down. I've gone unconscious. I just know a lot of this shit. I know my movements aren't great. And I know my mother and father have known this since age 7. I know that my mother has been lying about me since age 7. I know my mother's been lying to doctors since age 7. The worst part about it is I'm having love, faith, and I believe in my mother and father. So every time my mother lies to me and my father, I believe it. So when my mother called an overdose an allergy attack, I believed it. When my mother said it was okay to poison me and give me medications I'm not prescribed, I believed it. When my mother gave me a full bottle of Epicac like it was just a regular old punishment that any kid could be getting, I believed it. When my mother moved me around the country and said it was just because she wanted to change the scenery, I believed it. But as a grown adult who's not stupid as a 5-year-old, I know my mother was full of shit. I mean, it's so obvious my mother was full of shit. I mean, a 5-year-old could figure out my mother was full of shit. I should have been able to tell at age 7. I knew something was very wrong. I mean, stealing a little child. My mother literally had a little orphan boy come up to him and show him the swimming medal he won in the orphanage. And you know what my mother did? She stole the medal from the kid, told him it was not as good as an African American and it has to be an African American's medal because this little white boy isn't athletic. Said that he must be a liar, a thief. Then, because the little kid's name in the orphanage is on the back of the medal because that's where he won it, then the mother starts spouting attachment disorder and trying to get the kid drugged based upon this medal. So then the mother brings the kid to the doctor's office with the medal. Then starts spouting fantasies about this swimming medal to the doctor. As the kid cries, please give me my swimming medal back. I won that in the orphanage. Please give me it back. I want my medal. As the kid does this over and over, crying day after day, the mother says, it's just a fantasy. He's doing this because he's in trouble. It's a fantasy. It's a fantasy. No, this is a black kid's medal. Even though the medal was mine from the orphanage. So yeah, my mother was also thinking everybody was out to get her. She was jealous of my toys. There was so much things going on that were completely nuts with my mother. She also drank almost every night. Almost every night there was an alcoholic drink in her hand, and more than one. She would refill that glass more than once for sure. So this is not a normal household, and this is not healthy. Of course your kid is going to have seizures or some health issues as he gets older that you'll need to bring him to the doctor to. And if you don't bring him to the doctor for those, then when he turns 31 he might die or have seizures and not be able to get any type of medical care unless this is done and gone over. If you wait 25 years to get your son help for a life-threatening disability, oh yeah, he's not going to be able to drive, work, or do shit. So anyways, back to driving. Speaking of driving. So I have a neurological disorder. I just had my learner's permit for 2 years. I'm age 18. My learner's permit has expired. I've had it for 2 years. I've asked people to show me how to drive. I've asked my father on 3 to 5 occasions, but on the last occasion, he says, I don't got time, and gets all mad at me for asking. Because that's not the first time I asked. I asked the week before that, and I always asked 3 weeks before that, and then I asked 6 months before that, and then I got like one more before that. That was, I think, 3 months. So it was broken up in the sections like that. But by the end, I asked once, 2 weeks in a row. So I asked on a Saturday. My father said, I'm busy. No, I don't got time. Then I went back in the program for 5 days where they don't let you drive. They don't let you do anything. They don't let you have friends and go to friends' houses. If I wanted to go to a friend's house down the street, they would tell me absolutely not. Do it on your 15-minute break. Now, all the rest of the kids got 3 15-minute breaks a day where they could go for a walk for 15 to 30 minutes. If you're real good, you got 30 minutes. And you got 3 of them. You could start out with 1, 2, or 3. Now, me, I was special. I got 3 all the time. They always gave me extra ones. But then they gave me a bunch of them because I started to tell them that the cigarette cravings were making me really feel bad and I could end up cutting myself. Well, it's a stupid thing to say. But my mother is already telling me I'm a self-harmer for bumping in the furniture. That same week, I was called into the living room for all these bumps on my shins and scrapes because of all the falls and bumping in the furniture. I bump in the bed frames, tables, doorknobs like crazy my entire life. and it has to do with my neurological disorder that I'm not allowed to get health care from because my mother wanted to lie and manipulate with doctors. She also lied to me and my father. And my father is very happy. He still wants to be in fantasy land. My father still wants to believe the lies. See, the difference is I believe them because I believed in my father and mother. That's it. I don't want her fantasies to be true, and I don't want the truth to be true. I just want to get better. I just want to see a doctor and get better so when I'm walking down the street, I don't wake up on the side of the road bloody, wake up in the hospital bloody, or a bunch of people fucking with me and then I'm hurting on the side of the road bleeding someplace. I don't want that shit. And that shit's been happening to me since age 7. I remember this shit happening at age 7, and I had to bring it up in the doctor's office, and I remember exactly what my mother said. I brought this up at the doctor's office, exactly what happened, and my mother said, yes, something did happen that day. I administered him some medications, and it was just an allergy attack, nothing to see here. Then the doctor asked, well, what medications were those? And my mother starts dodging questions. Oh, I don't remember. Then the doctor asks another question, and my mother goes, oh, I don't remember. We don't need to talk about this, and then spit something out that changed the conversation completely. She did the same thing at the doctor's office in Texas when I tried to get help with it. Every single time I brought up my neurological disorder by bringing up the cause of it, what would be my mother giving me an overdose. She mixed like 6 or 7 medications together and then administered them to me at 7 years old. We were going to watch Batman Mr. Freeze, but my mother didn't want to watch that, so she played a bunch of med games. She did this to me on my adoption too, but I didn't OD. I just passed the fuck out. She did this a lot of times. She would sneak me some pills into my regular prescriptions, and then I would pass the fuck out like somebody just knocked me the fuck out with a bag of rocks. My mother would do this time after time whenever she didn't want me speaking or she didn't want me doing anything or she wanted me to be quiet and passed out. If she wanted me to be passed out, quiet and still, she would sneak me some pills in my regular pills. Well, one time this went very wrong. It caused an overdose and I woke up with my nervous system fried. I lost my vision completely during the overdose. I went blind for a little bit. My breathing slowed down. I couldn't feel anything, not my hands, not my arms. I couldn't stand up. My whole mouth went numb. I couldn't speak. I was screaming for help. My mother was on the emergency phone for emergency room people, or actually the doctor people, or poison control or something, and they told her to bring me to the emergency room. But my mother refused, said, these doctors don't know what they're talking about, hung up the phone, and then had me sleep off and overdose. And of course, if you have your 7-year-old little boy experiencing an overdose where his breathing has slowed down, he's lost his vision completely, he's on a pile of newspapers passed out, and he literally just screamed for help, help, help me, help, help, something's wrong, help, help, screaming like that as much as he can, but all that's coming out is, I can't hear help, oh, give me, help me. That's all you hear is that, because the kid is completely numb, he can't stand up, and actually after only about a minute, he can't even do that, because he passes out completely and he can't speak, move, walk, nothing. And when he wakes up, something's different for him for life, so he's sucking on his skin. Teachers are reporting home that they're seeing a change in their son. Oh my God. Yeah, something. Oh, what'd you do to him? Oh my God, what's different about what happened? What happened? Why is your whole nervous system fried all of a sudden? So the teachers are wondering what the fuck happened. And remember, the teachers in Westford, they're the ones that saw the sudden change. So they are the ones that are able to report on this best. But as soon as my mother moves me to, let's say, Texas and puts me with teachers in Texas, they never seen me before the overdose. So they don't know if I was born like this or not. But the teachers in Westford, they saw me the week before the overdose and they saw me the week after the overdose. So they're calling home frantic. They're calling my parents saying there's something wrong. And then they're putting me in physical therapy, speech therapy, and then at the doctor's I'm bringing up this overdose. But see, my mother will not allow me to get health care no matter how much I want it. She knows what's wrong. My mother knows exactly what's wrong. She knows that she gave me pills and something happened to my body. She knows it's a physical health issue. So my mother's going to spout every made up mental illness she can to throw the people off the trail of what's really wrong with me. And now I can't get medical care thanks to that. So, at the age of 18, all I knew was something bad happened to me. My mother's calling it an allergy attack. I can't move my legs properly, arms, and nobody's giving me help. That's about all I know. I don't know really what's going on with any of it. My mother won't help me. My father won't help me. My learner's permit just expired. So I'm going in to get my learner's permit, but I'm like, am I doing the right thing? No. Somebody's going to get killed. What the hell am I doing? I'm 18 years old now. Plus, I just had a learner's permit. I had a learner's permit for 2 fucking years. So then I got worried that I'm doing the wrong thing. And I really didn't even want the learner's permit until I got better. So on the second time around, I failed the test for the learner's permit because I was more worried I'm doing the wrong thing. Every time I picked up the book to study again, I said, this is fucking wrong. So it's a big problem if you're not sure if you're doing the right thing or not. It really makes you question it. But see, you know what my father would say? He would say I was too stupid to get my learner's permit. And you know what I would tell him if he said that? You're too stupid to remember I have one. That's what I would say. If my father said, you're too stupid to pass the learner's permit test, that's why you really don't drive. I would say, really, Dad, because I'm not that stupid. You seem pretty stupid saying that because I did have a learner's permit and I got it at 16. So if I'm able to pass the goddamn test at 16, don't you think I could have passed the test at 18 2 years later? They only added on double the questions. That's it. You just have to retake the test 3 times. That's all. I passed it the first time around. But you know what? Now I got worries. The first time around, I'm a stupid 16-year-old who isn't responsible yet. As I get older, I'm going to become more and more responsible, which means maybe I take other people's health into account. And seeing as I know for a fact that other people will get hurt and die, and that I cannot control my foot and arm properly until I get medical care, proper medical care, then driving is a bad idea. So I made the right choice at 18 to hold off, and I was very worried for a good reason. The reason why I failed that learner's permit test is because I was extremely worried. I mean, I passed it before. I had a learner's permit for 2 years. It was my fake ID. My parents knew this. Everybody knew that I had a learner's permit and that I used it to get cigarettes. Everybody knew this. Everybody knew that Zach wanted to drive too, from 16 to 18. But from 18 on, nobody heard from Zach driving very much anymore. They heard about me wanting to go to the doctor. They heard about me wanting to handle my mother situation. They heard about me calling my mother mental. They heard me in the kitchen talking about how my mother poisoned me. They heard my mother say, it's okay to give a child extra medication as a punishment. That's fine. It's okay to give a child a full bottle of Epicac. That's okay too. And I got my mother to admit to some of the things she was doing during childhood. That's the type of stuff I was focused on, is getting better. Then I can drive. But the first thing we got to do is get me healthy enough to do these things like work, drive. But then they're talking about Social Security at 19. At 19 years old, they flipped the bill on me. I'm trying to get healthy enough to work and drive. But then at 19, I find out that I'm supposed to be on disability. So at this time, it's starting to make sense, and now I got more of the puzzle to put together. Before this, I thought my future was I work and drive, but I wasn't healthy enough really to do so. I kept on getting hurt. The cold, like if I had to go on the farm during fall to do pumpkins, just forget it. I'll be fucked. So this doesn't work too well. Oh, my nervous system's driving me nuts, but I'm getting these words out. Some of the words got blocked and I've stuttered, but I've been using word replacement, and I think this video is okay. So no, I'm not so stupid that I can't get a learner's permit like my father tries to say. I already had a learner's permit, and what's even worse is the stupid rhetoric. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. I took a practice test that I passed and passed and passed. It's a super easy practice test, what is a 15-year-old version of the exam. So they take the old questions that were easier and they print them out and you do them at home. Now, I did this over 10 times over, and out of 10 practice tests, only one did I come down with a low score. So at this point, then my brother's acting like he's all badass, like he's all good with computers. Like, oh yeah, I could do all this. I could study through a computer, go on that computer and pass everything. I could do everything. I'm great with computers. I'm great with trick questions too. Like if I asked the question, how do you tell if somebody has a visual disability, a visual impairity, has problems seeing with their eyes? How do you tell? A, they got a red shoe. B, they wear glasses. C, they have funny clothing on. Or D, they have a cane. Now, I answered that one wrong by saying glasses. If anybody thought that wearing glasses was the right answer, that how do you tell if somebody has a visual impairity? Oh, see, there it is. Damn it. Anyways, I'm sure you know the word I was trying to say. It's not glasses. It's a cane. They just said cane. They didn't say handicap cane. They didn't say blind cane. It just says cane. So I'm thinking of an old man cane. And then I'm thinking of glasses. Both of those are on there. Glasses or cane. Which one means you're visually impaired? Well, if you're wearing glasses, you're visually impaired, I thought. But no, the answer is cane. So I doubt my brother would get that question right. If I asked him that question right there, how do you tell if somebody is visually impaired? If they have glasses, is that it? Because that's wrong. If you pick glasses, you're wrong. It's the person with the cane. D. D is just cane. C-A-N-E. That's all it says for that answer. Cane or glasses. Those are your two options that fit. Those are the questions that I make mistakes on. Just stuff like that. That's it. Everything else is simple and easy. But the technology, the computer itself, sometimes you'll tap the screen 3 times, your answer won't go in, and then the one below will go in. Sometimes there's trick questions like that. So he'll pretend he's so good, and by taking a practice paper test that I have on the table, fill it out and pass, and then go, see, I'm so great. Meanwhile, the practice tests are so freaking easy. Every time I'm taking a practice test, I've passed all but one of the printouts. They're so much different, those practice tests, than actually going in because they don't have the trick questions where it has glasses and cane together. They don't have 2 answers that fit on the practice because that's the really, really old exam. But it doesn't really matter. If I just retook the test, I would know which ones are the trick questions anyways, because those are the only ones that really set me back. Because once when I know they mean cane instead of glasses, what they tell you at the end when you fail, then you can go right back in, take the test the next time, and if it asks you that trick question again, then you know it's not glasses, it's the cane, because there's only 2 answers. How do you tell if somebody is visually impaired? There's only 2 answers on the actual test in Massachusetts that fit. Glasses and cane. Now, I picked glasses, and I failed for that answer. But it's really cane. Cane, because they mean blind. They should have said, how do you tell if somebody is blind? And then I would have picked cane. But they use the words, how do you tell if somebody is visually impaired? And then it has A, B, glasses, C, something else, D, cane. And that's the one I messed up on. So stuff like that is usually where it is. And then, I mean, like parking for a fire hydrant, I just memorize the numbers. I just get the book. That's mostly what I study. I just try to memorize the numbers. How many feet you are from a fire hydrant, how many feet you're supposed to be behind a car. I memorize all those before I go in, and none of those seem to be a problem. But those trick questions where it has double answers, like how do you tell if somebody's visually impaired? Glasses or cane? Which one do you pick? Cane, every time. I didn't know that. I thought it was glasses, but no, they want you to pick cane. But here's the thing. Then my whole family jumps down my throat because my brother, at the age of 50, after 30 years of driving, can pass a paper test that I've passed 9 times out of 10. And I've already got my learner's permit at this time. It's just expired. So they're jumping down my throat for not getting another learner's permit on one try. I just went in, failed, walked out, told them I failed. And everybody's jumping down my throat to fail. Well, how about the fact that I passed the first time when I was 16 and you guys did nothing? Why are you guys jumping down my throat to get a learner's permit when you guys did nothing with my first one? 2 years went by, nobody gave a fuck about showing me to drive. No matter how many times I asked my father to show me how to drive, he either told me, oh, go down to a building and have them teach you. Go down to a school and see if the school will teach you. Who's going to drive me to the school? How the hell do I get? What school? I don't know any of this shit. Plus, I'm in a program. I'm not allowed to leave Monday through Friday. You do realize that, right? Like, this school probably runs Monday through Friday, and I go through a program Monday through Friday at age 16 to 18 that doesn't let you drive, doesn't let you have a car. So what is the purpose of all this anyways while I'm going to get people hurt? You're seeing me shake, fall down during fireworks, and I can tell you guys do not feel comfortable me driving you around. And if you guys don't feel comfortable that I'm not going to get into an accident, then I don't want to get hurt myself because I have a medical condition and you guys just don't want to handle it. Because there is something very wrong with my leg movements and my arm movements. If I can't skip a rock to the left, then I also can't move the wheel to the left. That's simple. If I can't let go of something when I tell it to, maybe I can't hit the brake when I tell it to on time. So I have a neurological disorder that has to be treated before, and I need plenty of doctors knowing about it, and they need to erase a lot of the old shit too. Because a lot of the old made-up fantasies that my mother wanted to spout and my father signed off on are really in the way of me getting what I need to drive. Because first, you get better, then you drive. People with seizures and epilepsy don't just get in the car and drive the next day after a seizure. They gotta wait a year. There's a lot of protocols you do. Well, that's not my problem per se. Yes, I've had seizures, but that's not my main issue. My main issue is a neurological disorder that can cause seizures if I over bombard my nervous system. At least that's what I think causes them. I really don't know actually what causes the full-blown seizures. It was every 4 years during childhood. Now it seems to be every year or so. But it's always when my nervous system is being bombarded with stimulus. So it's a good thing I didn't drive, so all you out there are safe, huh? Good thing I didn't listen to my crazy-ass mother who just wants to get people hurt. They have no consideration for people's safety. Not for my safety, that's for sure. I mean, damn. You know how many times my life was put into danger by my mother and father? I mean, even at the age of 9, I was getting food poisoned and choked out. At the age of 7, I'm getting full bottles of Ipecac and I'm on the floor, breathing slowing down, going unconscious, blind, can't feel my body. I mean, so that's life-threatening for sure. I'm not even sure if I ever woke up that day. Sometimes I just think I'm in hell, and I actually just died at the age of 7. Because this earth is just so hell-like, and there's so many assholes and demons around today. Sometimes I wonder if I never actually recovered from that and never woke up. But anyway, so there's that. There's when I lived homeless age 19 to 23, what I'll be doing again, seizure after seizure, injury after injury, just so many shit. There's also the car accident at 16 where somebody hit me with their car. I was in a program once again, so nobody gave a shit. My father and mother stopped by the hospital and then just left me at the program. Wasn't like I got to go home with my mother and father. It wasn't like I got rest. Nope. They put me right to work right after I got hit by a car. I went in the hospital. They said I might be bruised, have some sprained muscles. Boy, did it hurt for a while. I had to wear a cast. And they had me sweeping up the fucking program literally the same day I got out. The same day they got me going up and downstairs sweeping. So, yeah, I never got any rest. Not in the 25 years since I met this mother and father. They've not given me a day of rest. No way. There's always some medicine or something. There's always something. My mother wants to give me these pills, or I'm going to go to ballet, or I'm going to go here, or we're going to do this, or we're going to move to this location. And then I have to spend 2 years restarting everything. Like when we moved to Texas, now you have to get reevaluated. You got to meet new friends. You got to figure out the new house. Everything has to be redone. Then as soon as you get used to that, oh, nope, now Texas. Sorry, now New Mexico. And then as soon as you get used to that, now it's Maine. Then as soon as you get used to that, now it's this. Then as soon as you get used to that, now it's this. I've never even had a second to breathe in my life. Some people talk about how important a vacation is. I've been run ragged doing people's work for 25 years. I was the 14-year-old on the farm, filling up the bucket of green beans and hanging up the onions. I was the 16-year-old volunteering hours and hours of his time for special needs kids. I was the 19-year-old working as a teacher's aide for special needs kids. I was the 15-year-old who got showed how to tile a big building with my brother. I am the hard-working, young, put his time through. I'm the type of kid that gets made fun of for having raggedy clothing, cries himself to sleep every month because he doesn't have any clothing, and all the kids are making fun of him because he doesn't get to go shopping for clothing, and he wears disgusting rags or short shorts that are now 2 years old, so they go up to the knees and they look like girls' shorts because I'm a growing boy and my father will not let me go shopping that much. He goes, oh, you have clothes from 2 years ago. Those still fit you. Those are fine. So what if they're above the knee? They're fine. And then all the kids make fun of me. What I didn't care about, I figured, oh well. But here's the kicker. All those other kids in the program, that state program, they went clothing shopping once a month. You know why I wasn't allowed to go clothing shopping? The program told me ask my father. My father never gave me a straight fucking answer. No matter how many times I asked my father why I couldn't go clothing shopping with the $200 check like the rest of the kids, or $100. I said, all the rest of the kids take a check and they show it into my face of $200. Then they get into a van and they go get clothing. Then they come back. I don't get to do that any month. That's exactly what I told my father. All the other kids get a $200 clothing check. They shove it in my face and then they go get clothing. Meanwhile, every month, year after year, I am left to sit in my room. That's it. They don't have the staff members for me to even leave my room for these hours and hours that these kids are having a blast. They're going through the malls, everything, and I'm getting punished every month. And whenever I ask why I'm getting punished, they say it's because of my father. So, what was really going on, seeing as my father wouldn't give me a straight answer? I found out at the age of 19 what was really going on is my father was getting $980, and that was my clothing check. That was my rent check, my food check, and my clothing check, all put into one. So, if I had to go clothing shopping, my father would have had to write a check for me to the program for $100, $200, something like that, and then I would be able to go out with the other kids clothing shopping. But unless my father is willing to give me my Social Security money to get clothing instead of paying his own rent or being an accountant bettering himself, if he chooses to do that, I get to sit in a room and do nothing. And that's exactly what happened for about, 3 or 4 years straight. So, yeah, there was over 30 months. For over 30 months, every single month, the other kids would go out clothing shopping, come back with McDonald's, and I was left in my room. And every single month, I would only be allowed to grab some can of food downstairs. Sometimes it was Chef Boyardee. Sometimes it was a can of SpaghettiOs. There was even one time where all I got was a can of green beans because they didn't have anything. They weren't expecting a kid like me to have to go and stay home every fucking month. They figured my father would have done something by now. But instead, my father decided that it was more important for him to control the 980 than for me to be dressed properly in this program. Even in my school, I was called the raggedy kid. I was always known as the kid that never had fitting clothing. I have an extra, extra large sweater. I got medium pants. I got short shorts that my father bought me. Then I got shoes. Then I got other shoes that I traded for. Then I got another jacket that's too small. Then I got a jacket that just fits all right. So everything is all either too small, too big, or raggedy that I trade and mingle. Now, some of the trades I got were good, while others, like my black favorite skull shirt, was way too big. But I was able to get clothing at least, so I would be partly not the raggedy kid. But that's all the clothing I had during childhood was all from my ingenuity. Oh my God, I know that. Why can't I say it? I just thought it. Why can't I say the word? I know the word I want to say. Inuit, whatever. I'm sure you know the word I want. So, yeah, I always was that type. If you can't get clothing, you make clothing. If you can't get a slip and slide, you make a slip and slide. If you can't figure something out, you got to figure it out. That's just the way I was. I didn't get no help from my parents. You think somebody helped me when I was being called gay? Think somebody helped me when I was having an overdose? Think somebody helped me when I was getting choked and I couldn't breathe? Think somebody helped me when I was left in the woods to freeze to death at age 9? Think somebody helped me when I was on the side of the road bleeding at age 16 off a bike? No, I just woke up and got back up. Nobody ever helped me. Nobody fucking helped me. Are you kidding me? Most of the time when I'm hurt, people load me up, and they're just used to this. They're just used to being like, oh, well, Zach has a splinter on his ass that's the size of a finger, and he's climbing up a hill. Well, carry these 2 liters for me in this bike while I walk up there. That's the type of shit that goes on my entire life today. Still today, I work with elderly people because they're going to do it anyways. Oh, here, do all this for me. Everybody does it. Everybody does it with me because they look at me as I can use Zach. I can use Zach. I can use Zach. And my family is so used to that. When in doubt, just call him a shithead, blame him, use him, and then after you're done using him, run away. Now they're done using me. They've sucked me dry. They've kept their wife controlled. My mother died. Now they don't need me anymore. They don't need a Zach to suck up this crazy woman. Now, if it wasn't for me, oh my God, I can't imagine what my mother would have been doing to the rest of the family. But that's what I was there for. But now she's gone. I'm no use to anybody. And now that I'm hurt and disabled because of my mother's actions and my father's actions, now they're just going to run off. They can't even pick up the phone to say sorry. They can't even pick up the phone to ask how I'm doing. Not in the last 25 years has my father ever picked up the phone and really thought to himself, I wonder how my son is doing. Because I would be in New Mexico screaming on the phone, bring me home, I'm crying, it sucks here, I'm hurting, bring me home, I got sick, I'm sick, I got food poisoning, I'm sick. And they knew about these things and still continued to leave me in a dangerous situation. Why would a mother and father leave their child in a dangerous situation that cost them money? Well, think about it for a second. If you're going to go on a vacation for 14 days, you can't do that with a child. So a lot of these parents who just want their own little fun time, they want a party, they want an old man party, come on, crack that book and get to the beach. Instead of a disco ball, you got the sun. Instead of music, you got the sounds of the ocean. Instead of alcohol, you got a book. And instead of a dance floor, you got the sand. It's just a party for old people. That's it. They want their party time. They want to go on that cruise in the Congo line. They want, that's what they want, and that's fine. We all want a breather. We all want a second to breathe. We all want a second to breathe. I've wanted it my whole life. I wanted just to sit and get medical care, breathe, and then I can go back to work. But no, I have to live a life of getting injured every day of my life. Yep, for you, you go to work, let's say in December. You get in the car, you go to work, come home. No big deal, right? I get to work in December. I wake up in the morning, puke in the can, shake onto the floor, try to get my strength. Do 3 hours of stretches so I can walk. I try to stand, I fall down. Then I can't drive because of my neurological disorder, but I can drive. Just my father won't work with me on this to make sure that the doctors could help me and then I could drive. But instead, he just doesn't want to do any of that, so I don't get to drive. So at that point, I try to walk or go to the bus stop. But then I have a seizure and they bring me to the hospital. But the hospital can't help me. Again, my father and mother lied to them. They don't want me getting help. That's not part of the agenda. Working with me to get help is not part of what they want. So the emergency room can't help me with 15 years of bullshit that my mother spouted, and now maybe 10 years of me reporting honestly about it. It's a mixed match of information, so they just release me on the spot. Then I can't get home, so I try to walk home and I have another seizure. They pick me up, bring me back to the hospital. They ask me what's bringing me back. I tell them. They go, oh, well, we have a special ride. Yeah, bring this fucker home. We don't want him a revolving door all night. So then they got me in the special van and send me home. But then at that point, I still have to go to work. So my work's calling me, and then they say, fuck it, just come in anyways. Come in late. We'll have you do the night shift. I say, I just had a seizure and I'm bleeding. So what? Just bleed over here. So then I go to work and I bleed in a chair and I fall and twitch and do all that. And then I come home. But when I come home, a roommate or old person or whoever the hell I'm living with decides to leave a mess. So I have to go to the bathroom, but there's a pile of poop on the floor that I almost just slipped on. So then I have to clean up the poop and use the bathroom. And then I get to go to bed. Something like that is my average day.